Green arrows continue around the world as the Dow closes above 15,000. May is usually the month to sell and go away, but so far it's been more rotation and play. I'm Brittany Umar, and the morning call starts right now.
Good morning. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com.
And I'm Brittany Umar, and together we bring you Morning Call. So futures are pointing to a higher open this morning after we reached all-time highs in the market yesterday. The S&P reached 1625 and the Dow closed above 15,000 for the first time. So now it looks as though we may keep pushing higher despite the critics who say sell in May and go away.
Well, the critics have been critical of this rally the entire way. And the entire way we've been basically stair-stepping higher, and there are a lot of different people using a lot of different approaches. And so far this year, even with the Dow with the 15,000 hat, it's been pretty methodical. If you take a look at the chart of the Dow, you will see that we've had a few different pivots, okay? Remember last September, this was your high here. This was what? 13,000, like I'm a little blind, 600. And then that's when we broke above it to start the year. Had a really nice move, consolidated again, then we broke over 14,000. Oh, get that Dow 14,000 hat. Then from there, went as high as almost 14.9, you know, what was this, 14.8, 14.9, pulled back, held the 50-day. And if you look here, we have not touched the 50-day this entire year. So that just shows you how strong the Dow has been and how, if you're a macro investor, you really haven't had that much technically to worry about. Then this was your last move above the prior high. That high here was 14,000, about 900, and now here we are at 15,000 and change. A little extended from the 8 and 21, so a little hard to buy, but overall, a lot of very healthy action.
Let's take a look at the S&P too and get a visual of that.
Yeah, well, we talked earlier this week about just say the S&P and the gap from Friday's jobs number to see whether or not it was emotional or whether it would be sustained. So if we look at here in the spiders, you will see we didn't even come close to testing that gap. Okay, so here, same thing, many pivot points, you know, to navigate over the course of this rally. Last one being on the jobs report. What you had here is a big move off of the 50-day. So this indice actually tested the 50-day, but it held, and it also held support going back to look at this. Oh, look at this gap back from, what was this, March 5th. So with that said, we gapped up, said let's see if we could hold above 160.104. Where, you know, 3 days later, we're extending higher. If you want to take a close look here of how to potentially navigate it, because we are a bit overbought, you know, this is what I would write down. Write down yesterday's high. Yesterday's high was 162. What is that? 162.65. So if we continue higher and close up, just, you know, keep looking for trades. We're a little extended from the 8-day and the 21-day, so it's not the easiest environment to put on a lot of new longs, but there are stocks extending and there are a lot of things to do.
People are concerned right now that they're missing the boat if they've missed these moves, and who could blame them, obviously. Right. But how do you get involved now at these kinds of levels? What are the types of trades we should be looking for?
Well, that's the whole gist of it. Okay, you have times when you could have a core long, or you could have, you know, a ton of positions when you're just breaking out, but when you're extending higher and stair-stepping higher, what you do is you look for, you know, new high trades. You look for a move that consolidates. Maybe you see a bull type flag where you see, you know, 6 to 12 sessions worth of consolidation, and then you have defined resistance, and then you see if we could blast through them like we did in some of the banks yesterday or in some select stocks. And those are the type of trades that my guys are gravitating towards because they've been breaking out and they still haven't started failing yet. When we start seeing stocks move into 2013 highs and then fail, maybe that's when we could be ready for another type of corrective period. But right now, these breakouts are being sustained, and that's been rewarding investors or traders that have been rotating through these sectors looking for these various setups.
And one of the sectors that's breaking out is retail. There are some setups there. We're going to turn the spotlight on department stores that have some setups. Let's talk Macy's, which, you know, despite competitors like JCPenney, has been able to hold up relatively well.
Right. Well, JCPenney's, you know, it's been a flawed stock, and Macy's has been one to own. If you look at a stock like Macy's, you know, I know talking all the way back from the Alex Steele days, she loved this stock, and you know, she talked about it all the time, and I kind of made fun of her. But meanwhile, it was nothing to make fun of because look at this type of move that you've had. First of all, this was your sideways consolidation that it broke above, and then this is the type of trade that we're looking for as traders. Okay, you had a nice move to the upside, consolidates, lets the 8-day catch up, and then boom, breaks out above a key level and extends. So granted, this has already somewhat happened here in Macy's, but this is the type of 3-day move we're looking for, and we're looking to see if it could happen in other retail type names. But as of now, if you've been an investor in Macy's and been trailing it and staying involved, you're in 2013 highs and you have nothing to be upset about. Go shopping.
Go shopping.
Maybe even
I like
Macy's.
that. Any excuse, right? Let's talk Walmart, your retail stock of the pick of the year last year. It actually once again topped Fortune's list of the 500 biggest domestic companies by revenue. I don't know if you know that fun fact, but
That's a good one.
do you think the mega cap retailers like this can continue to run despite being at these levels?
Well, there are various times, like the core times to be in it, and we talked about this last year as our retail stock of the year. Not because, again, I shop there or I love the store. It was because you had that decade-long channel. Well, that's behind us. And now with that behind us, the question is there still opportunity? And if you look at the chart of Walmart, this year, there were two opportunities. One was when it crossed above this 72 area, which was a nice breakout, then consolidated again and then crossed above 74. In the last 6 weeks, though, it's done absolutely nothing. It's consolidated this big move. So the question is, for traders out there and even investors, are you going to get another additional trade? So with that said, it's now above the 8-day moving average. It's hovering higher. You have defined resistance. So in order to make some money here, if it gets above 79.40 with some volume, maybe you get a breakout type trade. That would be something to do for traders out there. And if you're an investor, it would just be another nice gain for you to tack on if you've been involved for the past 2 years as, listening to Red Dog back from CNBC.
And Nordstrom hit a new 52-week high recently. I know the stock has more of a less impressive performance as some of the other ones, but would you say that it's a buy? Because I know that there are ratings teams out there who call it that right now.
Yeah, and it just went above a long descending channel or trend line. You look here at the chart and you'll see I haven't really traded this one, but it did have nice action yesterday. If you look at this big channel, this has been how long? Almost a year. Okay, where it's been in this range from the low like 51 up into about 57, and now it's just breaking above it. So above 57, the measured move really is into the 60s, and at this point it's above it, and it's taking out this prior high here. I think that if you're long it, stay with it. If you're looking at it as a trade, it would have been better maybe getting involved here, but it still has room, and this is showing healthy action.
And let's highlight some of those designer brands for less stores, like ROST stores, still looking good. Shares are up over 20% year to date, and it closed at highs yesterday. So do you think it still has room to run today?
Well, designer
brands for less.
Nice. That works
It's
in
true.
this kind of economy.
Yeah.
And ROST stores, I think, is not really an East Coast department store, but it's more
here.
West Coast.
They're here. They're definitely here.
Okay, well, it's here in the chart, and I'm actually long it because yesterday it finally extended above, this little area on day one. So here, in our swing trading course, we talk about gaps and how they could help ignite a move. Well, here is your gap up. 8-day caught up, started to go, closed on its highs yesterday. I don't see any reason why this thing can't be north of 70 at some point this year.
And let's talk my personal favorite. I don't own it or trade it, but I like to shop at it. TJ Maxx hit a new 52-week high on Tuesday as well and closed on highs.
I'm going to have like a Brittany meter, kind of like Warren
Let's do
Buffett.
it.
Warren Buffett says, he likes to drink Coca-Cola, whatever it is. You've been saying you like to shop at TJ Maxx, I think, for the last year. We've talked about it. We have fun with it on Stock Twits. And meanwhile, if you take what Brittany likes to do, that means if she likes it, a lot of other people must like it too. And if you look here, look at the chart. Unbelievable. This is the breakout that it had here for your core trade. Then it continued higher. Wasn't ready to break out and go, there, but came back, tested the 21-day, and boom, at new highs. At this point, I wouldn't be initiating it, but if you're long it and you've been investing in it, stay with it. Yesterday was your day to maybe add a little bit, and now you just trim and trail. But overall, TJ Maxx has been one to own.
We can add this one to the Brittany meter too. I like Target. I'm a Target fan. Looks good as well. Tacked on another 0.7% yesterday and consolidating above its 8 and 21 day, so maybe getting ready for a breakout.
Yes, this one, it's going to take a lot more power, kind of like Walmart, but it would be healthy for the markets. This had a big move, and if you look here, I like Target as well, so does my wife. And this was the last time it broke out, which was what, 65.60. It's been heading higher, and now it's getting tight again. So with this tight type of formation, this is the type of trade it would be nice to be able to get. A break and close above 70.75 would get you another type of cash flow trade. And it's not a blockbuster, it might not be that exciting, but these are the things that we're looking for, if you have to be in your seat every day.
Well, we're not done shopping just yet. Coming up, we're going to go in the trenches with clothing brands that have seen some nice action as of late. But first, a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Evan Lazarus, Chief Knowledge Officer for T3Live.com. You don't become a great trader by watching videos and taking courses. You become a great trader through live screen time. Accelerate that learning curve by tapping into the experience of seasoned professionals. Currently, we're offering 5-day free trials to each of our 4 mentoring rooms. In the mentoring rooms, we teach our strategies in the context of the live market. To sign up for a free trial, go to the T3 Live education page, fill out the form, and get started when the next trading session begins. We hope to see you in one of our mentoring rooms.
We're back and talking about clothing brands that have picked up momentum and have seen some nice action, starting with Abercrombie & Fitch, just upgraded at Wells Fargo from market perform to outperform. Shares closed up over 6% yesterday, so does it still have room to the upside?
Now, just a question about this type of store. Are you too old to shop in this store?
I am, unfortunately.
It's more like your cousin and your niece.
Yeah. I think I would say their target audience is more like high school.
Gotcha.
At this point. And Hollister, I know that division of their brand is doing really well too, and I even think that might be a little bit younger.
Okay, so I do think my niece Taylor, she likes to shop there.
And how old is she?
She's 16.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Look, the Brittany meter. A lot of knowledge in here with that. Here you go. Great to have you for the shopping session.
I know.
Well, here you go, and look at this. Look at this. You know, Traders Be shopping also yesterday, and this was a breakout above 50 on a wide range bar. So it shows you that even after a big move, look at this, by the way. I just want to show you. Look at this huge gap here. You know, gaps help ignite moves, especially when they don't get filled. Just a little bit of education there. Big move, corrected, you know, held support, going sideways, came back into resistance, and pow, broke out yesterday. At this point, do you chase it? You know, a little bit hard, but if it gets through yesterday's high today, perhaps it extends a little bit. But overall, this again is the type of trade that we're looking for in this area of the market.
Now, how about Ralph Lauren? Reached a new all-time high on Tuesday, posted nearly 2.3% of gains. Does it still have room to run? We have a little bit of time before earnings on May 23rd.
This one is also, it's like some things have already happened, so it's hard to chase. We're trying to find the tight ones. This one yesterday, just like the last one we looked at, had a really nice move. This was one time to get involved. Here was a gap, and by the way, this one actually didn't get filled. It actually just trickled all the way in, or it did get filled, I'm sorry, but wound up holding. You know, and then yesterday, look at this. Bull flag above the 8-day breakout. So again, it shows you that even with the Dow at 15,000 and even with S&P at 1625 and even with every naysayer, all you needed to know is a bull flag. Here's your pole, here's your flag, there's your breakout. Not a spot to enter, but a spot to stay within trim and trail.
And Urban Outfitters gained nearly 5% yesterday. Earnings are coming up on May 20th. If we get some digestion now, do you think we can get another push before then?
Yes. If this group stays hot, like I'm looking, like as I look through all these charts, I'm like, why wasn't I in more of them yesterday? So hindsight sometimes is a BI, you know what, or 2020. You know, it just, but look here, you know, look at this move above a key resistance. People say there's, you know, they're frustrated with the market. You know, if you were in the retail group yesterday, and I hate to talk about it the day after, you know, you had some nice gains. There were people in it yesterday. We had it in someone off the charts too, and you know, and now it's coming back to the highs here. So I would say if Urban could go a little sideways, perhaps we get a nice juicy move through this 43.82 for another push.
And then there's the Gap, which has, I think, lost a little bit of its coolness factor, but has been able to go higher every time we've seen a controlled pullback.
Yes, and this one has a 3-day upper range. You look here at the chart. You know, I do think that, you know, there is something to do here. Nothing huge, but, you know, here's a little 3-day range above a prior level. The 8-day just caught up, so if you're looking for some cash flow above 39.13, you can get a little bit of a snack.
And finally, Under Armour approaching resistance here. Do you think it'll have enough power to break above it?
Well, this one I'm long just because of the pattern here, and this one's been a bit trickier. This has been a great vehicle for those who got involved around the new issue years back, and now, you know, after having some turbulent times, you know, it seems like it's either just people need other things to do, but overall, you know, you have a nice tight pattern here. It's been building. It's above the 8-day. Here's your defined resistance. So maybe tier 1 in this area, and then for a breakout above 58.30, and you could see it move back to the highs, which are north of 60. So Under Armour, I actually wear a lot of that.
We can add that to the Scott meter.
Yes.
All right, fun talking shopping. Let's move on to some quick hits here and talk Cliffs Natural Resources first. This has been acting better since beating earnings. So where is next resistance?
It's right around here. And you know, in this also stage of the market where you have breakouts and new 2013 high trades, you also have some laggard trades. And laggard trades are always tricky because they're laggards for a reason, but sometimes, you know, moves get ignited and then they sometimes have commitment. And if you look here at the chart, I was in this, you know, I think 2 days ago. I sold it yesterday, but this is on my radar today. If it can get above and stay above this, what is this, 22-ish area, perhaps you have another move and look where the 200 days and look where this gap is. So this could be something to do. I think it's pretty heavily shorted, and you know, you do have a gap up. It's been holding it, going sideways. So above 2180-ish or 22, that could be not this type of move, but a move and something to do. I'm watching that one actually.
And we know the banks have been leading the past few sessions. Bank of America saw its 4th up day in a row yesterday. So do you think there's still room?
Well, yesterday I took a sell above 13, and I talked about that the day before. I'm like, this is a spot to add. 1241, by looking at the chart, was your spot to add on, and that was right here. Resistance, broke through, added on yesterday, sold some, still long it. You know, some are like, oh, this is a top, I'm getting short. I'm like, I wouldn't be short Bank of America. I think it still goes higher, but every time it does this, breakout, consolidation, held higher. Breakout, consolidation. Now let's see, it might need to do some work above this area before going again, and then you look at the weekly pattern here. I'm still a believer, 14 to 16 before the year's over, and maybe even sooner than we think.
All right, mark your words. And JP Morgan, nice moves there. Also closed on highs yesterday, so potential follow through today.
Yeah, well, this one is, you know, it's not leading the banks, but every now and then it just wakes up, and I'm looking for tight patterns here. And if you look at JP Morgan, there is a level that we could trade against. I am long a little Bank of America, Bank of America and JP Morgan. If we can get a push through this area, which is about 49.40, you're going to see a move back to the highs here of 51. So overall, not leading the group, but nice tight pattern, and I think that within a few sessions, it could break above.
And finally, we got to check in on Apple, so show us the key levels you're watching.
Well, Apple has had a spirited move from earnings. We talked about buying it through 420. Right now I have no shares. I had a nice trade there, and you know, I've been trading it kind of tactically back and forth. If you look right now, this is when it broke back above this important level, this 420. Then it broke above the 50-day and held above it, and now it's stalling right in front of this prior resistance around 469. So I would say right here, the longer it stays above yesterday's low, which was just say about 453 and goes sideways, I think the better the setup we will have for a trade above 466 through 469 to perhaps even get up and test a 200-day at some point this summer, fill this gap up north of 500.
All right, so we've talked about the types of trades to look for at all-time highs and the tactics that you'll be using. What will you be focusing on today? Will you be paying a lot of attention to the banks?
Well, I think a lot of the banks had their move the past 2 days. You know, there are still some setups there that we went over. I think retail, some made new highs, some could be looking to do so. I'm also going to watch, you know, the indices, the S&P, and see, you know, do we break above yesterday's high in the spiders and squeeze one more time, and then maybe do some kind of push through failure, which could lead to a little bit of a rest, but that hasn't happened. The oscillator is overbought. We're not screaming overbought, but I think we're close to plus 50 and plus 60, 70 is screaming. You know, but all in all, you know, the indices have been quiet. There's been individual stock action to do and play a part of. And I would say continue to look for the individual stock action. Stop looking for a potential pullback in the market because your opportunity cost is huge. Those are saying, oh, I'm eventually going to be right. Like Rubini's like, oh, well, the market can go higher, but it's going to crash in 2 years from now. So do you wait 2 years for the potential crash, or do you figure out how to trade it from now till then? And then even figure out if that's going to take place. So live in the moment, Brittany.
We should all work on that. Live in the moment, guys. Happy trading. Have a great day.
I'm Mark Sperling, Director of Trading with T3 Trading Group and contributor to T3 Live. Do you trade on your own, but you wish you enjoyed the benefits of a large trading floor? With the T3 Live virtual trading floor, we deliver that experience to you on your computer. On the VTF, you can follow the long and short positions of experienced professional traders like myself, Scott Redler, and others, and listen to our live radio stations as we navigate the markets. In addition, you get the added value of a large community of sophisticated and like-minded traders. Your membership to the virtual trading floor also includes access to our 2 very popular newsletter products, Off the Charts and the Price Point Sheet at no additional cost. In my opinion, joining the room will be the best trading decision you will ever make. I would like to invite you to begin your membership with a 7-day free trial. To get started, visit t3live.com and click on the Virtual Trading Floor tab. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the VTF.